Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Happy Tuesday. Good morning, Pete, or I guess good afternoon for you. I hope you're having a fabulous day. I hope your week's been going well so far. As you can see on the table, we have hella fluff. Like a metric ton of fluff, not actually in weight, but just in theoretical size. Good afternoon, Saul. How are you? How's I was gonna say, it's been what? Has it been a week? A week of 33 yet? Almost a week. How is the 33rd? How's your 33rd year around the sun going so far? Right? So much fluff. And the goal is to hopefully turn all of this fluff into a Christmas tree star. Yeah, because it's been, what was it, 2019, Liam and I got our Christmas tree. And we had like 3 ornaments. And oh, Kat, thank you so much for the resub. I really appreciate you. Almost a weekend. I'm thinking of finding a way to reverse time and go backwards. Ooh, are you doing? You're wanting to do some time traveling? Does that mean it's going well and you've entered like a new era of scientific fascination, or you want to reverse time because it's not going well? You know what I mean? That could be interpreted both ways. Morning, cat. So yes, as you can see, so 2019 we got our tree. We had like a few ornaments, and then the pandemic hit, and this was also around the time that my parents were downsizing because they were moving across the country, and so they asked me if I wanted my childhood Christmas ornaments. And whatever else, because they were, again, downsizing their Christmas ornament stash. So I said yes. So we went from having, like, literally 3 ornaments to having, like, a whole tree's worth of ornaments. But of all of the things, we don't have, like, a topper, anything to go on the top of the tree. So I finally thought the other day, why don't I just make one? So we'll see how this goes. This might just be the temporary tree topper until we can find one, or this will be so amazing that we'll pass this down generation after generation. Who's to say? You guess it's a bit of both. Yeah, absolutely. I can see that. Yeah, so we shall see. And I don't know, like, yeah, most people do, from what my understanding is a star or an angel on the top of the tree. I'm not sure if there's any other, like, more, like, any other sort of common ones, but those are the most common in my mind. I think my parents, I feel like we interchanged them, but I think for the most part we had an angel. But a star seemed easier in terms of, like, getting the size and the capacity of it. I never looked up the skirt of an angel, I swear. Yeah, it's a bit of an invasive process because you are usually putting the angel on top of the Christmas tree via their skirt. So, you know, it must be very uncomfortable for them to be sitting up there for a few weeks. It will be amazing. Thank you for the vote of confidence, Kat. I appreciate that. Right now, I'm just trying my damnedest to color mix about 3 different wool colors, because basically I have this yellow, and it's a very bright yellow, but it's kind of like very dull and almost a little bit, to be fair, it's like dehydration pea color, and I kind of don't want that on the top of my Christmas tree, so I'm trying to mix it with these like off-whites and whites to hopefully like brighten it up and like desaturate the pea color of this yellow. But yeah, we just had to start growing out, and then we moved in with our grandmother. Okay. You have yet to decorate the tree, so you're not sure which Interesting. Always had a star. Grandma insisted on an angel. Was there like a family heirloom angel, or was it just that you had to go out of your way to procure one? Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like sometimes people have like sentimental ornaments that go on the top of the tree. Like, you have to put this one at the top. Or is it like, it just needs to be an angel? Please go out and procure an angel because this is important to me, sort of thing. We used to put a bag of chocolate money on the tree. Ooh! Just like one bag on the tree, or would you dot bags around? Just like yeeted a whole bag of chocolate money into the tree. Nah, she was just a Baptist. Fair enough. So it wasn't that she had a family heirloom, it was that she just insisted on the angel of it all. No problem, Pete. Lurk away. Spread them around, could you imagine? Yeah, I feel like that's another thing. There's like quite a few, I guess maybe more traditional Christmas tree ornaments, like popcorn strings, which always sound like such a huge pain in the ass to me. Like how people would take like fishing line or like really thin string and like thread popped popcorn to make garlands. That seemed like a lot of effort. A Baptiste was an artist that specialized in bread. That's funny. We have tears ornaments my mom loves. Yeah. One I made. Oh yeah. Ooh, that's really cool. Yeah, I have my oh, that's true. I never even thought about, yeah, Baptiste. Hi, Aurora. Good afternoon. Yeah, Baptiste. An artist of Baps. Touche. That flew right over my head. See, I'm glad Kat knows. But yeah, no, that's cool about the ornaments. It was funny because yeah, I wonder if my mother-in-law has like childhood ornaments of Liam's. I watched GBBO. That's fair. I get that. Great British Bake Off. So you know all about the Baps. You're all about that Bap life. Because it was really funny. So I have a couple of like my first Christmas. Oh yeah, with the American culture, and then when they also butchered the Mexican food episode. I didn't watch it, but I saw all of the memes and saw the absolute audacity of how they did that. I don't know if what was the American cuisine that they butchered, because I'm sure they did that too. Yeah, you quit watching before that, fair enough. Yeah, so I have a couple, like I have like a I don't know, like a stamped kind of metal first Christmas one. The peanut butter and jelly thing. Oh dear. Oh, I think I did see memes about that one. And then I had somebody, I don't know who it was, because the other thing too is we have a lot of ornaments that like are handmade, that were made for us. And I remember asking my mom, like, who made these ones? And she's like, I don't know, it was either this person or this person. Like, it's one of those where it just becomes a thing that like was really great and the ornament's really beautiful, but it's like, it could be one of these crafty people in the family that made it. Though we do have a bunch of like handmade snowflake ornaments that my grandma made. And so I've put those all over the tree this year. And then randomly I have a 5th birthday or 5th Christmas, which I thought was a very specific Christmas chart, like Christmas ornament. Like so-and-so's 5th Christmas. Just, you know, in case I didn't get the first few. And I think I remember my brother has, I don't think he has a 5th one, I think he has a 3rd one. Which is interesting. So yeah, we have the firsts and then we have the, yeah. Did anyone grow up in families that had, like, that subscribed to the Christmas tree trends? You know what I mean? The one thing I made was actually finishing one. Okay. Yeah, my mom did that a couple years ago. So my mom and my aunt did that. So we have one of those where it's yeah, you have a styrofoam ball and you wrap it in fabric, and then you take a bunch of pins and you stab it almost like, it's basically like a kebab or like a skewer of sparkles that you then stab into the styrofoam ball. So it kind of looks like a glitter virus in like ball form. Yeah, they look really cool though. Another one my mom did, and I have a bunch of the patterns for it. So maybe if I get my shit together next year, that's what I'll do around this time of year. Is they're almost like beaded nets that hang. You like buy a Christmas bauble, just like your plain Jane like circular Christmas bauble, and you knit almost like this beaded sparkly mesh netting to go around it, and then it like, I don't know, like bougifies and elevates these baubles. So my mom's made a few of those as well, and she gifted me, or she gave me all of the patterns for them. So I think that might have to be something I attempt another year. No regrets. I'm doing my first face-to-face DMing. Face-to-face DMing ever on Thursday. Ooh. That's really cool. So you've only ever done DMing online, Mr. Dragonlord? Also, we're doing fabulously. I hope you are doing well. Is Krampus involved? Yeah, I feel like Krampus needs to be involved. Okay, I feel like there's sort of like chunks that have kind of clustered together. So I'm just gonna kind of go in and individually piece these apart. And then once we do that, have you seen the Krampus horror film? Like, I'm not a big horror film person, but a couple years ago, Liam's family showed it to us, and we just thought it was really clever. It's one of those more like horror comedy things, more like the Grinch. Oh, okay. Yeah, Krampus is great. One time, me and my brother picked up, like, alternative Christmas sweaters. I actually have it. It's, like, massive, but it's an alternative Christmas sweater, and it has a giant Krampus on it. Makes me happy. Yeah, highly recommend. Even if you're, like, not a horror movie person, I think, like, just the insanity of it is enjoyable for anyone who likes sort of, like, horror comedy adjacent things. But yes. Yeah, you could evilify the Grinch. I guess the Grinch is very like family friendly evil, but I think they could actually like horrorify the Grinch for sure. In Discord. Let me see it. Oh yeah. Did you make the miniature yourself? Like paint it and everything? For some reason in my brain I didn't realize that obviously that you might have like a character, like physical tabletop characters to go with those things. I just always assumed that it was all just like visual, like verbal storytelling and stuff. So that'll be cool. Okay. So I'm just attempting to sort of cluster these, and then I think we'll get to shaping. My game plan is to sort of almost do like 2 stars and then attach them together, and I have like a toilet paper roll that I'm gonna sort of use to create just like a cavity in between, so that basically I'm making a sandwich with a little pocket, almost like a star puppet, so that the opening can go over the tree, but then the star, you know what I mean? Like either side, like a little star pocket. And the pocket portion is where the tree branch is gonna go. So that's what I'm hoping. We'll see what happens. Okay, that's cool. You even like went off script and like customized it, Dragonlord. That's really awesome. Yeah, so this is the Tree Topper game plan. And I've given myself 2 streams to do this because I'm hoping that that's how long it will take. But I do know that a lot of this would have been like color mixing and shaping because it is a bit of a larger project. But I'm hoping once we do the sort of color mixing and get the initial stuff together, it shouldn't take too long to like shape itself, you know what I mean? Because it's just a star. It's just a large star, so hopefully that is the plan. And then we'll see. And then I'm hoping, because I do have, in addition to my many a pile of cross-stitch whips, I have like outstanding little kind of tail end projects that I'm gonna try to work on. It might be that this is also what we're trying to finish on the Friday, but I'm hoping that I can then just finish some other little things that I've been neglecting. And this will hold me accountable and make me do them. So that's what's hopefully gonna happen on Friday. In addition to, so you remember, I think it actually was it was last Thursday. And I said, guys, okay, no stream on Friday because I have to take Shadow to the groomer. And during stream, my phone rang. And I was like, haha, wouldn't that be really funny if it was the groomer calling to cancel Shadow's appointment? And I was like, haha, that's really silly. That's funny. Whatever. Well, didn't I check the voicemail after stream? And sure enough, the groomer called in sick. And so they didn't have anybody to do their grooming appointments at Pets at Home. So Shadow's appointment got canceled. And since no one was going to be in on the Friday, we had to call back on the Saturday. And I was like, oh, geez, like, especially around Christmas time, I just assume like it's really difficult to get booked in. I thought maybe we'd have to be put on like the cancellation list to try to like, you know, last minute, if somebody can't make it, then we can go in, that sort of a thing. No, it's happening this Friday, which is amazing. I didn't think that was going to happen. Maybe, I guess because you know what it was? I was equating it to hair salons that get really busy around Christmas time, but I think that's because a lot of people are getting their hair did to go to their like company Christmas parties and things. And so I don't know why I was like, yeah, obviously dogs are busy getting primed and prepped for the Christmas time as well. You know what I mean? You know, maybe, I guess, because I was gonna say maybe like families have like Christmas cards with their dogs in them when they want their dogs to look cute. But I think if people are taking Christmas card photos, they've taken them in like October, November to then be sent out now. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We got our poodles trimmed and floofed yesterday. Very nice. We should get matching perms. Ooh, I don't know if I could pull off the hair. Have you ever had curly hair, Saul? You might look quite good with curly hair. I feel like, yeah, we can get matching updos. Though I did chop off a lot of my hair. I feel like before I chopped all my hair off, we could probably get matching updos. No. Right? I think that would be adorable. To the many a Christmas parties that I'm sure we're going to be frequenting. Speaking of parties, I know it was like kind of low key, but you went to an escape room on your birthday, didn't you? Or in and around your birthday? How did that go? I haven't been to an escape room in a long time. I remember like pre-pandemic, that's when they sort of all took off, and there was a couple local ones in my area. And so we went to quite a few of them for a minute. We had friends who were super, super into them, so anytime they would organize it, we would try to tag along. But haven't been to one since. Oh no! Oh, that's a shame. They knew. They were like, Saul's gonna crack the code and... It's naturally curly. Right. Oh yeah, I think you mentioned this, where you're sort of like learning to kind of embrace the curly hairedness of yourself. I don't know. My hair has always been poker straight. And then one of those things too where like I could curl it and put like a metric F ton of hairspray in it, and by the end of the evening it's flat. So sometimes I do it, but half the time I'm like, for what? I've gotten very like, I guess, lazy with my, not personal appearance, just like what I'm gonna do to like make myself look quote unquote like conventionally pretty. There's other things that I would do before I would curl my hair. So, but every once in a while, it's just nice because I get bored. I'm like, ew, my hair is boring me. So sometimes doing that helps to like switch it up. Usually what ends up happening when I'm bored is I usually cut my hair or dye it. So I've cut it and that's like pacified me for now. But we'll see. Reston has hair like that. She gets so mad. Yeah. It's one of those things where you always want what you can't have. Because I feel like I remember really wanting really curly hair, and then like when I was younger, and then a girl I knew who had really curly hair is like, no, you don't. Like I struggle to maintain this. And I'm like, fair. But it looks really pretty when you do. Yeah. I guess too though, if you have naturally curly hair, sometimes like brushing it per se just kind of creates frizz, you know what I mean? So I don't know if it's ideal. Again, I don't know anything about. Yeah, that's what I mean. So I think, yeah, like more of a traditional brushing of it would just like ruin the curls, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's awesome. Like, Saul, you have a partial shave, don't you? You have like a half shave. I'm like, Saul has some cool hair too. I've never done like the shave or the undercut or something. I know in the summer, like my mom's done undercuts before, and I know people that have, but I've never like aesthetically shaved a part of my head before. Oh, do you? Oh, I didn't realize that. I guess all because I always see it down. I just assume that one side is fully grown in. I didn't realize that all around it was. Interesting. The shower, so yeah, that's true. To be fair, I find that now, even with like, I didn't realize how much hair I had. Until I cut a lot of it off. And yeah, showering takes a lot less time than it used to. Oh, you were thinking of an undercut too, Aurora? Yeah, I feel like in the summer it's probably really great, especially if you have like really thick hair or really long hair. It just helps like alleviate some of that. I wonder how much gel you might need. Because your hair is quite long. I feel like you would need some industrial, I don't know, hairspray. It would have to be like yeah, you need the kind of stuff that like literally solidifies it. Yeah. You should do that. That's what you should invite Eddie back to stream, and Eddie's just gonna be your hairstylist, and it's just a goal to get your hair to stand up straight. And you just spend all of stream. Eddie's gonna be covered in like hair wax and gel and hairspray, and he's gonna, you know, he could even like put on like a posh accent and pretend he's like from a bougie salon and like get super into it. I feel like Eddie could do it. I think that you should task him with that. So So this is looking really good now in terms of, like, these are the chunks we have left, and this is looking a lot more, like, incorporated. So I'm happy with this. So I'm going to finish doing that, and then hopefully we get to shapeage. Yeah. Yeah, I think got to be is definitely, because I think I remember, too, because my mom used to always have, like, short hair and would kind of do, like, spiky, piecey things with it, and that was always, like, the recommended brand. You just have to go in and get all the ones that are like level 4 max hold. They usually have like a number scale, and you just need like whatever the highest scale is. The Ed Salon, absolutely. Absolutely. He's gonna he's gonna come over one day and you're just gonna drop that bomb on him and he's gonna be like, what? I didn't agree to this. Used to gel thing with curls. Yeah. Ooh, space buns. Yeah. I always thought space buns were really cute. I always part, because like my hair naturally parts here. I have like a cowlick. And I feel like in order to do space buns with like the appropriate amount of hair on either side, you have to do a middle part. And I feel like I might look bananas with a middle part. Isn't there that, it's like that whole millennial Gen Z thing that like millennials part their hair on the side and Gen Zers part it in the middle, and it like completely changes the shape of your face when you do either or. But yeah, I don't know, it'd be interesting. Also too though, because my hair is cut around the fact that my hair parts here, I feel like it would be uneven. I guess if they're in buns it doesn't really matter, but I do think about these things. And I'm like, oh, if I do space buns with my natural part, does that mean I'm just gonna have like one honkin' space bun and one like tiny little bitch space bun? I don't know. Yeah. I grew up with middle and then, yeah. I don't know, man. Maybe, I don't know if it is a generation thing, but it just was, this is how my hair naturally parts thing for me. I think obviously side parts got very exaggerated during like the sort of emo scene heyday, because people were parting them very aggressively to the side to then have like the emo side sweep in front of their face. But yeah. I've always had that. Yeah, okay, that's true. That's actually, like, it's an interesting argument for head shaving to almost, like, reset how the hair follicles grow. I feel like that's probably a thing. Like, you can probably train your hair follicles to, like, grow in a different way. So I could see the benefit to that. Just, like, giving your scalp a refresh, you know? Okay, I promise we will get to stabbing of the fibers shortly. I'm just really wanting to make sure we've incorporated these fibers nicely. Yeah. He has so much hair. It's incredible. This sort of thing at the back my mom also has. Okay. That's awesome. I love that. It's like you two have matching cowlicks. Matching little swirly spots. Yeah. I'm very intrigued by this theory. The reset or retraining of the hair follicles post shaved head. I do think there's probably some weight to this theory. I wonder if, because, like, my brother-in-law shaves his head a lot. Just, like, on a whim. He'll be like, screw it, I'm gonna shave it. And my other brother-in-law has as well. So maybe I should ask them, like, does their hair grow in differently each time they shave it? Or have they attempted to have it grow in differently? Because they would know, because they have personal head shave experience. We just have Kat's perspective right now. We need more. We need a larger sample in order to equate, you know, a correlation between head shaving and follicle reshaping. She also's gone straight gray. Oh, yeah. Oh, interesting. I wonder if that's like a combination of like the chemo or like aging or just, you know what I mean? Because I know gray hair like is thicker and coarser than like colored hair. And I don't know. I don't know the science behind it, but I know that there is something that's different about it. And so you wonder what that could have resulted in terms of like the grow back being all that color. Like hair science, you guys. It's really soft too. Oh, interesting. I do feel like there are some people who have like a natural gray, like the tone of their hair is naturally gray as opposed to like gray hair that's like the absence of the colored follicle, you know what I mean? I feel like there's a difference between like gray hair as in hair that has turned gray and just like gray hair. Like that doesn't make any sense, but you know what I mean. I feel like there's a distinct difference. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, almost done with phase 1 of the Star Alliance. What? So since I have completed my Studio Ghibli watch through, aside from just like watching films again, I feel like I have this like void in my soul that I'm trying to fill currently. So I've been going through and revisiting some of the Crunchyroll series that I've like saved in an attempt to watch. Her biopsy's next Tuesday. Yeah. Absolutely. Fingers and toes crossed the biopsy goes well. That's like, that'll confirm if like the cancer is gone and stuff, right? Yeah. So Liam and I have been rewatching, or I've been watching for the first time, rewatching Naruto. And we watch it via Crunchyroll, which I think is free with ads, or you can obviously pay for an ad-free subscription. And so every once in a while I like go through all of the different animes and just like save ones that I think might be interesting. And so I was like, okay, like let's go and revisit these and see if any of them sort of spark the same Ghibli joy that I'm after. Yeah, all of the fingers and toes crossed it goes well. It sounds like everything's been going really well with your mom, so hopefully this is just like the final tick box seal of approval of like, we are past this point, you know? So the first one I attempted was Let me get the actual name right. I think it's something called Somali and the Forest Spirit, I think is what it's called officially. Yeah, Somali and the Forest Spirit, which is a 2020 series. And it is originally subbed, but I guess Crunchyroll, I don't know if it's just via the app or something like that. Anyway, it was a dubbed version as opposed to a subbed version. And at first I thought, oh, this is really great. It's about like this forest golem that discovers this little girl in the forest, and they like go on an adventure together. And I'm like, this sounds really great. And it wasn't. It was like, I guess it's part of this larger world where there's like mythical creatures. Like, you know how some universes where it's kind of like anthropomorphic animals are sort of like the human characters in the series, and they're just like, humans are just one race of creature in this world. And so I guess within the context of this world, humans are sort of like, were I guess destroyed or used as like slaves or sold in like a meat trade and stuff like that. For all these other characters. And so it just became, I guess, I don't know, I only watched the first episode, but it became one of those like, this isn't about a golem and a child hanging out in the forest. This is more about like them traveling to these different worlds and interacting with other species that are trying to like eat the child, maybe potentially. And then also because it was dubbed, the voice acting was like really not all, because I feel like not all dubbed voice acting is really over the top, but this one was. The little girl was like, "Father, oh my goodness, blah 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 blah," and I'm like, I can't do with that sort of like really obnoxious sort of sounding children voice. So I was like, nah. Katara Lives Alone. I have seen that on Netflix. Oh, maybe I should check that one out then. Julie, I have wanted to see Julian's Fandoms. I think it's actually either produced or created by Kenny Ortega or something to do with Kenny Ortega, because I remember him talking about it, and then like he's also the one who did the Descendants movies, so it makes sense that that's very like Disney-esque, you know what I mean? So I could definitely see that. But yeah, okay, Katara Lives Alone. It is created by him. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so that explains it. But yeah, so Somali and the Forest Spirit was not it. And so the next one I decided to watch. And let me tell you, this one is hella cute, and I bajillion% recommend this. It's called Poco's Udon World. And basically it's about this 30-year-old guy who's living in Tokyo, and he's originally from this small town and has to go back to the small town because his father passes away, and he needs to, basically they're cleaning out his house in order to sell it because both him and his sister, who are grown adults, don't live there anymore. And the mom passed away like many years earlier. But while he's doing this, he comes across a little boy and sort of like pseudo adopts him. But it turns out, and this is sort of related to Ghibli-esque, it turns out that this little boy is actually one of the shape-shifting tanukis. So the raccoon dogs that I talked to you guys about when we talked about Pom Poko. So there's this like Japanese raccoon dogs that is within Japanese folklore of being able to transform into humans. And so I guess this like little boy, and he's like a toddler, so I want to say he's probably like 3. And it's this like little boy, and at first this guy is like, okay, like who's this boy? He's been abandoned. And then he realizes like, oh, it's actually a tanuki. But then slowly this guy sort of adopts this like father role, but they're also trying to keep the fact that Poco's a little tanuki a secret from everybody, because they don't know how he's going to be treated, if they're going to like, you know, scare him off or, you know, mistreat him and stuff like that. And it's just like this little kind of fantasy slice of life thing where this guy is seeing his hometown through the eyes of this little boy, because obviously it's very much like, it reminded me a lot of my own thoughts about where I grew up, where you're from a small town and you cannot wait to leave that small town. You're like, I don't want to do this small town shenanigans. I want to go to the big city and live my big city life. And one of the big things that I think why it's called Poco's Udon World is this father, or this guy who's coming back from Tokyo. His dad had a noodle shop and was like an udon restaurant owner. And his whole thing, this guy, his name's Sota, is like, I don't want to become a noodle maker. I'm going to go off and get this big tech job in Tokyo. Like, screw you, dad, whatever. And now that he's back after his dad's passed away and he meets this little boy, he's sort of realizing, like, okay, all of the things that I really thought were annoying and dumb about living in a small town are actually really beautiful. And I'm seeing that again for the first time through the eyes of this little boy. And it's just so cute and wholesome, and I just love it so much. So yeah, Poco's Udon World. There's only 12 episodes though. Hopefully, I think it's a serialized manga as well. I've heard of Fruit Basket as well. I think that's the one. Isn't that the one where all of the guys turn into different Zodiac characters? I feel like that's also, there's one, I think, is that the one? I think I have put that on my list. Yeah, that one, I have put that one on my list as well. So I'll have to do the Kohara Lives Alone, and I'll have to check out Fruit Basket as well. I know another one. Oh, Girls Do Too. I didn't realize that part. But yeah, I know one that to be fair, I might have to rewatch it. And the last, like, anime, aside from, like, Studio Ghibli things that I remember really watching and, like, getting super invested in was Violet Evergarden. And that one is about, like, a girl, like, a sort of like a feral child who's raised as a soldier. And then when the war is over, she kind of needs to figure out what she wants to do with her life. So she becomes, like a letter writer or a transcriptionist. I think a lot of people can't write, so they write on behalf of people and, like, bring letters to loved ones all over this city. And that one, I remember crying during that one. That one, like, really tugged at my heartstrings and stuff, because she's wholly, like, trying to figure out emotions and how the world works kind of post-war. So that's really nice. Food Wars is there. Oh, is the Food War? Yeah. See, I think Liam and I tried to watch Food Wars, and there were just too many foodgasms that we were like, listen. Like, I get super excited about food as well, but when there's, like, very overtly sexualized anime thingies happening while the food is being consumed, it's a little too much. I'm like, no. Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah, exactly. It's one of those where I think there's a... It's one of those where I do find... I don't know if I'm just becoming... not like a prude or whatever, but if I don't find there to be a narrative reason for things to be, like, overtly sexualized, I'm like, I don't understand why this is happening. And so what'll happen too is every once in a while we'll try to watch one, and it's like, yeah, right? You're like, I just want to get to the actual narrative. I don't need all of this other stuff. And so that's been, yeah, so, like, it's one of those where it happens, like, once or twice, and you're sort of like, okay, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and just, like, see if the story will progress without all of this. And then when it's, like, 3 or 4 times within, like, one episode, there's just, like, everybody's just, like, being unnecessarily horny for no reason, I'm like, okay, that's it, I've checked out. You know, I'm like, that's it, I'm done. I remember this actually happening too. Liam and I got really we started watching this rock climbing anime, and it was about this girl's anime rock climbing team, and we're like, that's awesome, we're really into rock climbing, this is really cool. And then all of a sudden it took this, like, weird turn while this, like, one of the, like, girls from the alternative high school rock climbing team was then, like, really sort of, like, aggressively, like, predatorily flirting with one of the ones from the opposing team, and I was like, this is now weird. I just want to watch rock climbing. Like, I don't understand. And the plot was so good because this girl was super into, like, video games, and then she was like, oh, like, I'm feeling really isolated, I want to make friends. but she sort of like gamified rock climbing, and you could sort of see the way that she would approach rock climbing similar to like a strategy video game. Super cool concept, because those are two things that me and Liam really enjoy. And then they curveballed us with this weird stuff. And I'm like, I don't know, I can't do it anymore. Yeah, no problem, Saul. I hope your recording goes well. I know you'll crush it. But yeah, so I have a really hard time with things that just unnecessarily get like horned up for no reason. And there's like, yeah, I don't know. That's true, definitely. I think sometimes it's just frustrating because I feel like if they removed that one element of it, it would then be enjoyable. So that's the part that kind of sucks sometimes. But, yeah. There's a few others I've seen in, like, because I've IMDb'd Poco's Udon World. And like I said, there's only 12 episodes so far. And I'm on, like, episode 10. And so it's almost over. And I'm going to be sad about it. So hopefully there's, like, another series at some point. But I've noticed on IMDb there's, like, other kind of, like, maybe not exactly the same, but similar plot points where it's, like, a father figure and a young child and that sort of a thing. And so might try more of those out. They need a Blake Vampire series. Yeah. Yeah. Have the doodly do. Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You're like, okay now. Okay, so I'm gonna sort of split these two in half-ish. And then we're gonna get the mat out. And I feel like sort of handprint size is sort of what I'm going with. So I think I'm gonna take what I've fluffed and separated and just sort of map it out on here and start filling it in and hoping for the best. Yeah, sort of like getting that felted down, and then we can start shaping. And I know too what usually ends up happening is obviously because we're shaping into points, I know these sides will end up being really dense instead of the center. So I'm going to try to put a little bit more of the fluff in the center of the project, just because I feel like that's usually where they end up being really transparent and not as dense as the other parts around it, and it can feel very like uneven texturally in my brain. We've obviously not gotten rid of all of the whatchamacallit, the like color density pockets as much. I want to go slightly over, because it's sort of going to end up being like, don't know if we'll operate from this point, but sort of like that. So I feel like we want it to be wider, then we want it to be taller. I think that's what I want to attempt, but we shall see. Okay. Get ready for the stabby ASMR moments. Let's put these on for safety. Ooh. Honestly, it's so bizarre because it literally starts out like this and you're like, eventually it's gonna make a shape. It's like for somebody like me who's so like structured and rule oriented in my brain and in my life and like in my creativity, I should not enjoy this as much as I do. It defies all of the logic of how my brain usually operates, but for whatever reason, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, there are kits out there, and at least I know the one kit that I started with, there weren't any pictures to walk me through it, and I feel like I really would have benefited from like step by step being like, once you felt this ball, this is what it would look like, so it would give me something to aim for. It was just visual description, and I was like, I think this is what it's supposed to be. And then it like roughly turned out the way it was supposed to, but I definitely think I would have benefited from, so I don't know if other needle felting kits are better than that, and that they might include a bit more of like a visual reference for you, but I'm not sure. I'm like, maybe this will not be big enough. I don't know. Yeah. Exactly. I think that's true, like with a lot of, my mom's found that too, like with different crafting things, like the Christmas baubles. She's like, some of them, excellent instructions, I know what I'm doing. Others, I'm like, I don't know. And you end up having to like pull apart and redo stuff because it's like, I'm obviously either misreading this or this was just very crappily explained that I don't 100% know what's going on. Yeah. I guess the other thing too, yeah, because this just does not feel thick enough for the amount that we need. Like, I don't want to be able to see through this, and right now, like, I can see you guys through this, so that's not ideal. So I think we might have to reach into the other part of the stash, and then I think when we make like the second star, we're just gonna have to make a new batch, which is fine. Or maybe there's a way that we can, like, I don't know, make it three-dimensional without having to make another batch. I don't know. We have enough, though. It's more just that it's time-consuming, but that's okay. Yeah, I think sometimes just because people have been crafting for a really long time doesn't mean that they're good at teaching how to craft. Because I think sometimes too, like when there's something that you're really good at doing, a lot of the stuff that's like considered just a fundamental basic step, that's just like second nature to people. And so they don't think like, oh, that's something I have to remember to teach somebody. It's just like, oh yeah, and you just do this thing. And people are like, but how do you do this thing? And so it ends up being like you're not getting the whole part. You're sort of like, you need to have this baseline of just like yeah, just like a baseline knowledge of something, and then this is a beginner project, but it's like, yeah, but you've not given me all the foundations that you forgot are actually foundational to being able to do this craft. So I think that's why not everyone is a good teacher. Or if they are, like, if they teach some things, like, they could be good at teaching some things, but not other things. Like, I know that there's probably certain things that I couldn't teach because I'd be like, yes, no, I did. Yes, I did receive. That will all get sorted out in the new year. But yes, so last week I decided I was gonna do not 1, not 2, not 3, but I did 4 of my 7 giveaways for my 200 follower appreciation giveaway. So what ended up happening is I just did what I want, and yeah, so we got 4. And so we'll take a break this week, and then, yeah, at some point next week, we'll do another part of it. Yeah, if you have no crafting skills and all right. Yeah. Yeah, no problem. Always appreciate your lurks, Aurora. Hopefully little man is sleeping all right. He's not too grumpy after he wakes up from his nap. Okay, that's much better in terms of thickness. I think because I know I'm going to be shaping this and still wanting it to be quite large, so I don't have the option to, like, condense it, you know what I mean? How did that happen, Kat? Unintentional earbud yeetage. To be fair, sometimes that happens with my phone where I'll be doing something and then I accidentally drop it and it just, like, decides to go on its own little adventure, like, halfway across the room. And I'm like, calm down. Sometimes when I go for walks with Shadow, he gets, like, really hyper, and sometimes I'll be listening to my headphones and I still have, like, wired headphones, and he'll be jumping around, and a couple times he's, like, caught his foot on the string and then ended up ripping my headphones, like, out of my phone, and then he gets all whiny and, like, upset, like he's hurt himself, and I'm like, dude, like, you need to chill or else these things wouldn't happen. I'm like, it's not my fault that you got your foot all tangled up in the headphones. That's your own fault. But he's so dramatic, eh? It's like he will cause issues of his own making and then he'll, like, cry about it. And I'm like, first of all, you're fine. Second of all, it's your own damn fault. Ooh, crushed it. One take Saul for the win. That's amazing. Is it voiceover for a show, like for one of your shows or a friend's show? And also, which show is it for? Because you have hella shows. You got tons of show options. And then also, if you want to hear this glorious voiceover that Saul has done for one of his many shows, you obviously should be following him. Doy. The character mystery. Okay. Oh, on a YouTube audio series. Oh, very cool. Was Mystic Keith predicting the future for fellow listeners? Mr. Keith Mystic Keith, sorry, reaching into his crystal ball for all the goodness. Is that who, you know how you got like you got a kit of chakra stones a couple months ago? That was for that character, wasn't it? Okay. So, I believe it is time to start the shapening. Trying to think how the best way to do this might be. I think probably start with this. This is an episode, it's an Xmas theme. Oh, that's really funny. You're like, I summoned the spirits, but they're scary. Okay. And we're doing the plan is to do the 5-pointed star. Oh, no problem. Hopefully that gets sorted out. Oh, that's really cool. There we go. Okay, so this is sort of the basic starting point, I think, of the star formation. We sort of like ooh. I feel like I need a bigger felting mat for things like this. I'm like, my star is too big. I think we have to bust out this little guy. Just so we can get more. And we're back. Welcome back. Do they know what caused the fuse to blow? Have they determined the culprit? Or was it just one of those sort of fluke situations? I feel like a fuse doesn't blow without a purpose though. It was the heater. Oh no! Too many things plugged in. That's rude. They need to create a different circuit for yours. I love it. It's like, oh no, it's fine. Everyone can have heaters, but you know, there's only one more before it blows out the circuit. And so no warmth for Cat. Oh, really? Oh, that's worse. You're like, I have frostbitten toes. You would think that I guess, does where you work not have heat? Like, I would think that the air would be heat that would then be coming onto your feet, or no? They've not transitioned that, or it's different. Yeah, I'm sure it's like a money-saving thing. They're like, we can't turn the heat on, just bring sweaters. And you're like, okay, but heaters, please. Wow. That's annoying. Okay, so we're just trying to get the basic points shaped out, and then we can do... It's looking a little lopsided, but that's okay. It looks like a Mario star. Yeah, kind of, eh? Yeah, there's something very cartoonish about this star currently. Those needles, do they? Yeah? My little leather finger protectors make me look like a cool dude. Cool person. Check me out. Did we? I didn't even notice. Every once in a while it slips out. Not that I'm purposely attempting to hide it. It's when you turn statements into questions. That is the proper use of the A. See, the other option is to just make a complete star and then, like, maybe get some wire or just sort of like, you know, like, basically, like, no one's gonna see the back of the tree. So if we just, like, place it on the front, you know what I mean? Like, we can attach it in a different way that doesn't require having, like, a three-dimensional or, like, a little pocket. Or we could just make the pocket out of, like, leftover. We don't have to, like, fully make another second star. You know what I mean? We got options. We'll see. We'll see what we need to do. It could be that we just, like, lay this kind of here and then layer enough felt over top and then sort of create a little pocket on the back end. That's probably what I'm gonna do. I think that might be a good idea. And then we can use this extra stuff to fill in if we have any spaces that need to be a bit more like dense. Because, like, I know I was like, oh yeah, the star needs to be massive, but, like, I'm looking at this and I'm like, damn, this is this is cartoonishly large. But maybe that's okay. Maybe that's the point. Maybe that's what we need.
It's tea time.
Oh, thank you for that reminder, Saul. Drinking New York breakfast black tea. I've needed to I'm back on like all my loose leaf teas. I've been drinking a lot of just like bag tea because I've been lazy, but I've run out of a lot of different ones. So now I'm like, I do have a bunch of loose leaf tea that I should actually be going through and drinking. So also it feels like bougie to do it before stream. I'm like, ooh, this is like my pre-stream ritual to like make a bag of tea. I will die on this hill that I love that song. I don't care how many times it's been memed. That song slaps and I thoroughly enjoy it every single time I hear it. And also my main like it does. It totally does. Yeah, all-star for my Starfelt. Absolutely. But yeah. Like, the first Shrek soundtrack did not have to go that hard, but it did, and I am forever grateful for it. Like, I know everyone jokes about how, like, Phil Collins didn't have to go that hard with the Tarzan soundtrack, and, like, I agree, but also the Shrek soundtrack did not have to slap as hard as it did. It's so good, and anybody who tells me otherwise is wrong. Okay, this is actually turning out all right. Ooh, I've not heard the Treasure Planet soundtrack in a while. I should go back and revisit that one. To be fair, I've not watched Treasure Planet in a hot minute, or Atlantis. Those are both excellent films. Yeah, it's true. I think, isn't it? I think Michael J. Fox is the voice of him as well, which I think makes it even more, like, it makes him even more dreamy for whatever reason. There's so many good characters in that film. I've not watched, because I know that they did like a direct-to-DVD sequel. I wonder how that one is. I'm sure it's trash, but it'd be interesting to know. That's one of the things that I think would be fun to do like a rewatch of. Not like canonically the animated films, like the Disney animated films, but all of the direct-to-DVD sequels or the direct-to-video sequels. Because I know there's a direct-to-video Hunchback, there's a direct-to-video Fox and the Hound, Atlantis, Pocahontas. A bunch of them have like direct to VHS sequels, and I wonder, Mulan has one which actually isn't that bad. But yeah, I'd be interested to know how some of the other ones stack up. No, I never did either, but I would be interested to know. I don't think they did a Hercules 2. I know there was like a Hercules animated series, But I don't think they ever did a sequel to that, like one of the direct-to-video sequels. I'm trying to think what other ones. That was either it. I think it's like they had a moment where they were doing a lot of like direct-to-VHS sequels, and then there were moments where they were doing like the series. So they did the, yeah, I think I watched the series a little bit as well. It was all about like young Hercules when he was like growing up. And then there was the Lilo and Stitch series, which was really good too, where they had to go around and like collect all the other experiments that Jumbo let out into the world. Also, the 101, there was a few different 101 Dalmatians series that I remember really liking. I remember there was McDonald's toys that were based off of the 101 Dalmatians animated series, and it was like the dogs in little race cars, and they were like double-sided, so you could flip the dog, and it would like flip to a different car and a different dog character, and then you could like flip it back and forth. Yeah. Can we? It's one of those, it was so funny. I finally, unlocked Elsa and Anna, and then I realized I've never seen Frozen 2. Oh, yeah. Did they turn the 2000s film dinosaurs into a series? I remember not liking that movie for whatever reason as a kid. I remember seeing it in theaters and not liking it. I feel like it warrants a rewatch. Yeah, I feel like I've heard really good things about it and that it's enjoyable, but it was just one of those that we just never got around to it. And I'm like, I probably should watch it. So I get the references in Dreamlight. Oh, okay. Yeah, they were in costume. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Oh, yes, I do remember this one. Yes. Yes, I do remember that one. 100%. As soon as you said Rosanna's dinosaurs, yes, because the dinosaur that wears, like, the checkered shirt is, like, the dad and stuff, and I'm like, 100%, yeah. Yeah, I didn't remember watching a lot of that, but I remember what I did watch. I always thought was cool. I feel like that was like a stereotypical sitcom dad for a while, eh? I don't know if Roseanne was one of the ones that sort of started that off, but it definitely was like a trope for a hot minute. I like that. You're like, it was, but like this was the one that really sealed the deal for you. Yeah, I have a thing for check shirts. I feel like it's one of those things where it also, like, low-key reminds me of Canada. So I'm just, like, so drawn to checkered shirts all the time. It just feels like, because I feel like I would describe my aesthetic as, like, cozy adventurecore. And I just feel like a good flannel, a good plaid shirt, like, really is the, like, just the symbol of that aesthetic in my brain. My mustache to John Carter. Yeah, yeah, you had quite range. There was range to your the people you were interested in, which I think is good. You had a well-rounded tastes in your ideal partners. Yeah, right? Honestly, absolutely. Okay, so I was correct that this is getting really thin in comparison to these parts. But what we'll do is we'll finish shaping these points and then we'll add some sections. Sam, yeah, absolutely. Oh, it was so funny. I remember seeing the Goonies in the 6th grade and thinking that, what's the actor's name who plays Samwise? I remember thinking he was so attractive and so cute, and I had such a little crush on him. And then it's so, like, inappropriate and so, like, sizist and stuff of me. But then when I saw him in Lord of the Rings, like Sean Astin. So yeah, I thought Sean Astin was so cute in the Goonies. And then I saw him as Samwise Gamgee and I was like upset. I was upset because he wasn't like cute anymore in my opinion. And it like made me really sad. And I'm like, wow. Like I was just like I didn't know better. I was a child and didn't appreciate, you know. I just think he looked so different to what he looked like as a child, whereas there's some like actors and actresses or just people in general that the same people that they look like as children, they just grow up to be adult versions of those children. And to me, he looked completely different and it just like broke my heart. And I was like, retrospectively, I'm just like, why am I so rude? But I think it was just so jarring to me because he looked so different. But without that, I'm like 100%. His dad was Gomez? Really? I didn't realize that. Yeah, no, he is honestly like a little sweetheart. And he's incredible. And I was just being a judgmental little sixth grader. I don't think how old I was. Like 9 or 10? How old was I in the 6th grade? 1, 2, that would be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 10. That makes sense. That tracks. I feel like I could have, 10-year-olds are judgmental as shit. So I'm sure my 10-year-old self was very judgmental, and that's why. We all have moments, right? Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's some like 90s celebrity crushes that absolutely like in terms of their personality and who they are as people, their appeal has aged poorly. Yeah. Yeah, Keanu Reeves he just seems like such a sweetie. And just like such a nice guy. Like he's just been like forever wholesome, but also was like a badass action star. That's how I feel about Simu Liu, the guy who plays Shang-Chi in The Legend of the Ten Rings. He just seems like he's a badass, but also just like the most wholesome, genuine little baby boy. And I just think he's such a cutie, and I have such a crush on him. But yeah. I just think he's just so wholesome and wonderful. There aren't very many. Like, I don't know, like, there's ones... I feel like there's very few people. Like, I think I had tons of childhood, like, celebrity crushes and stuff like that. But I think because I'm, like, one of those people who, especially now, like, as an adult, if I would have a crush on somebody, it's, like, because I got to know them. Or, you know, I would have, you know, some toxic-ass crushes. Like, that was a thing that happened to everyone in their 20s, but... I don't know, I guess because it's harder for me to have celebrity crushes because I don't feel like I know them. So I'm like, I don't know, they just like look pretty, I guess. But for some reason him, and then to be fair, I've not watched an Oscar Isaacs movie in a hot minute, but I remember when I first saw Oscar Isaacs, I was like, yep, that is a good looking man. I like him. Yeah, I've not watched Moonlight yet. I've heard he's very good in it. Yeah, the only MCU series that I've watched so far is WandaVision. I've not tapped into any of the other ones yet. He's in Dune for a bit. Yeah, I think it's interesting because I feel like the first time I saw him was actually in Sucker Punch, which is like not a good basis for me to develop a crush for somebody. But I think it's when I saw him in Ex Machina, maybe, that I was like, ooh, look at this person. And then in Star Wars as Poe, I think that was another one that I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, it must have been Ex Machina, because there's no way that I saw Sucker Punch and was like, Oscar Isaacs in Sucker Punch is like making me feel a certain way, because he was an absolutely terrible person in that film. So that was a bit of weird. That would have said something about my psyche if that was where my crush developed, I think. Oh yeah, I forgot about Falcon and Winter Soldier. But yeah, I did really enjoy WandaVision. Ooh. Did you watch Loki? I've had people have mixed feelings about Loki for some reason. But yeah, it's one of those, like, I've not... I want to watch the Hawkeye one. I don't really care about Jeremy Renner, but I love Florence Pugh, and I kind of just want to watch it for her and Haley Steinfeld. But... we'll see. Right now, I'm just super into my, like, little wholesome, sweetie animes. So, I'll get back into the MCU at a later date. Right now, I just want, like, wholesome little anime families. Oh, yeah. Hi, Megan! Hi, Makerbug! How are you? How are you doing? I feel like you've already done a little bit of Christmassy crafting over on your channel. This is my first Christmas craft. Probably my only Christmas craft, if I'm doing honest. Yeah, I'm doing A-okay. I'm getting a little roasty toasty in here, but other than that, things are very good. I don't have a Christmas tree topper, so I decided that I'm gonna make one. Oh yeah, the Fridays you're gonna be taking it easy for the end of the year. Very exciting. You've made the cutest little Christmas baubles with all your little characters in it, and I'm just like obsessed. Guys, if you don't follow Makerbug, then I don't know where you've been, because she is literally like the best human in the world, and you would do well to follow her. That's all I can say about that. No, you didn't make one for yourself. Oh no. Yeah. Missed opportunity. Missed opportunity. They're so cute. Oh no, absolutely. Oh, I didn't realize that those were for people. You absolutely. It's all right. Next time, you'll have to bring them back next year. So much Christmas cheer. But yeah, so is your Friday stream gonna be Christmas related as well? It's gonna be holiday adjacent. Absolutely, yeah. I don't know if it's one of those things where you have a cute idea, and I don't know if you then realize, like, you don't know if it's gonna be successful, you know what I mean? You don't know if it's gonna, like, be a big deal, and then it, like, grows off incredibly, and you're like, oh man, like, I need to I need to do more of this. Oh, it's gonna be a party. Hell yeah. Ain't no party like a maker bugger party. Oh, hey. Anyone get my S Club reference? It's literally all my ideas, yeah. You're like, I don't know if this is gonna work, and then everyone's like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened, and you're like, well, shit, I guess I should do more of that. That's so amazing, though. That's so good. Okay, this is getting like less Mario Star-esque. That's what it was. It was very chonky. It was looking very like Mario Star-esque, which I wasn't mad about. It's kind of looking more like Starfish right now. I think because there's a lot of like pockets of like really dense areas where the stars are, like where the points are, and then everything else is a little bit like soft and smooshy. So we're gonna try to fix that. But once we get the rough points shaped, then we'll do that. But hopefully my aunt gifted me these, like, they're called like fiber mix-ins. I think they're mostly traditionally used if you were to do like yarn weaving with like loose fibers and then turning it into yarn, and then you can mix these like little funky different texture color fibers into the yarn that you're weaving. I think she got them for me with the intent of like maybe I could mix them into the needle felting. So I noticed that there were some sort of more like sparkly ones, and I thought, oh, that might be a cool idea to try to incorporate into this star, but they were like blue. They weren't really, like, none of them fit, which is really unfortunate. But I'll have to sort of scheme how I'm going to try to incorporate those in the future. Because there's a bunch of like different ones, different like texturally or like glittery or different whatevers that get mixed into yarn weaving. So I don't know. We'll see what to do with them. I think when a project comes where they'll just fit, I know that it will work, but as of right now, I'm not sure. Or, because, you know, my brother-in-law yarn weaves, so maybe I should give him some, and then I can be like, you should incorporate these into something, and then make me something with them. It's just me making work for him, but... Obsessed with that kind of yarn. Yeah, I think, because basically I got like a care package from my parents that had a bunch of random stuff in it, and that was one of them. And I was kind of like, I don't know what this is, but there was a website with like that came with the bag, so I was like, I'm gonna go on this website and figure out what I'm supposed to do with this. And then yeah, I worked out that it was these yarn fibers, and then I think I watched a video of it being incorporated into like yarn weaving, and I was like, well, I don't do that, but maybe I can do something else with it. Why is this one so loose compared to the other ones? I am confused. Like, my star is too big for the felting mat. But yeah, we were talking earlier about like different traditions. I think because we were talking about how some people will have like an angel on top of their tree, some people will have a star. I'm not sure if there's any other toppers. I think some people do like joke toppers, but most of them have some sort of like star or angel sort of shape. And then there's like different like first Christmas whatevers. And then I don't know, does anyone have like a favorite ornament? Because there was this specific ornament that I had growing up that my parents has now given to me that I'm like, this is the goat ornament that I used to always have to make sure. I think I'd make sure before the topper went on that I put that ornament on the tree last. This year I just put it on whenever, but like you best believe it gets like top spot on the tree. You know what I mean? Like, you know how you have some ornaments that you're like, these are like the goat, this is the A team of ornaments, so they're like at the right, like at main eye level, and you're like, these are the ones that I want everyone to see. And then you have other ones that you like dot around, or the one that you put a little bit further behind that like it's a cute ornament, but it's not like the ornament, you know what I mean? So I have like this vintage Barbie ornament that has like its own little like fake fur shrug that she wears. And that one always has to go on the tree. It was always that one. That one was like my ornament for me. And then my brother had Percy from Thomas the Tank Engine, you know, the green tank engine. That was his ornament. And I always had to make sure that like I put mine on the tree and he put his on the tree. I used to have some favorite ones that were Hallmark ornaments. We don't use those anymore. Your cousin insists on a theme. I was going to say, but yeah, really, you were going to say, see, this is Kat. Every once in a while, you say something, and we're like, we're the same person. Yeah. I was interesting, because I was going to say, I think there are some, like, different ornament trends. So some people will do, like, the traditional, not traditional, I guess, but, like, we'll do sort of, like, the handmade, family-related ornaments where like all of the ornaments have meaning and like they're a bit more like sentimental Christmas. And then there's like fashionable themed Christmas. And I remember, because then there's also different colored trees that are in season or in style. I remember like when I was younger, there was one moment where the white Christmas tree was the in thing. And so a couple years we did have one of the, like we had an artificial tree, and it was the artificial white Christmas tree. And then I think it was like you do the white and then you would do like the gold or the silver. We had like big feathers, like big sparkly feathers that we stuck out of the tree and stuff. We did like a very fashion forward tree one year. And then we decided to like strip it all back and go back to like the sentimental one. Ours is farmhouse. You hate burlap. That's incredible. What else? Is it very like, I don't know. There's not like barn animals on it, eh? It's more like Christmas chic, where it's like, it's very like, it's almost like, you know, the DIY wedding things where it's like lots of burlap, a lot of like white and very sort of, and like wood, like that sort of color scheme. Is that what, I'm like, I want to know more about this farmhouse theme. Hey bro, like I have a black shiny Christmas tree to decorate. Ooh, yeah. Oh, that's cute. So you have themes for your, like, little tree, like, your mini trees and stuff. That's funny. Yeah, because I think, because there's this, like, kind of like garden center store around here, and they always do like a big sort of Christmas display, and they have all these different kinds of ornaments, and they usually within their shop will have different theme trees, and then all the ornaments sort of in that theme will be the ones that are like on display that you can then purchase and stuff. And they always seem like cute ideas where I'm like, oh yeah, but then it's like, that's a lot of, so first of all, ornaments are expensive depending on like if you're getting like the glass ones or getting whatever. So to like do a whole themed tree every year, that would get so expensive. I guess maybe you might, like, the best option, I guess, would be to maybe have, like, a couple themes, and then you're able to sort of like rotate them out. You know what I mean? Yeah, and they just stay that way. I made some HP books. Oh, that's cute. You made some? That's really interesting. I've always loved that. I've seen a lot online, on like Etsy and things, where people will make like little book earrings, and you can get like your favorite book. They usually do like the classics. They'll do like Shakespeare ones, or they'll do like, you know, like the Bronte sister ones, like sort of like literary classics in little book form. And I just, again, I'm a sucker for like mini things, because just anything miniature is automatically cute. And so I'm like, little cute book earrings that you can wear, like that's adorable. So that's really cool that you made those. I saw this really cool necklace on it. I got a targeted ad on Facebook, because of course I did. And it was all these sort of like, I guess, acrylic style jewel, like pendants, or, you know, like a necklace, and then it's all these like acrylic cutouts that would then make up the necklace. And there was one, and it was a big necklace that had all these different leaves on them that were acrylic cutouts, and then the leaves on them had like, in kind of like foil or whatever, written on the leaves, like in like cool calligraphy, what tree the different leaves came from. And it's like the most autumnal, gorgeous thing in the world. I think it was like over 100 quid though, and I was like, I can't justify it, but it's so beautiful. I'm like, I don't wear jewelry enough to justify how beautiful and wonderful this is, but like, it's leaves and it's trees, and I love it, and it's gorgeous. Yeah, I had little books, house color balls, murder map. Yeah. Tiny cauldron, that's really cute. I like the idea of a tiny cauldron charm, or like ornament. I have my Halloween tree that I decorate for Halloween every year. It's like a small black tree that has like little baubles and stuff like that. I have a few themed ones, but I feel like it's like too small to have so many different ornaments on it. So but I feel like there probably could be some other cool ones that I could get. Yeah, right? So cool. Yeah, I have a couple. So when we still had RIP the Disney store in the mall. So before Disney decided to close all their stores and go, or like the majority of their stores and go mostly online, that was like one of the main reasons I would go to the mall, is to check out the Disney store. And they did they usually would do their Christmas ornaments, and they had a couple different Disney ones. So I have a Nightmare Before Christmas one, and then I have one from the Haunted Mansion, and I think another one, it's like a gargoyle, but I think it's also Haunted Mansion themed. I basically just like found the spooky of the Christmas ornaments and was like, these ones are going on my Halloween tree instead. Theoretically, I could also stick them on the Christmas tree, but they're packed in with the Halloween decorations. Yeah, I think me and Saul might have been talking about this one, like the OG one, where you used to walk in and there would be a screen playing the film, and below the screen was usually like a giant tower display of all of the stuffed animals. And I don't know, like that just was a core memory of the layout of the Disney store, just being like screen and pile of toys. That's like the main thing I remember about those layouts. Made a little zero tombstone. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah, the mound of plushies, absolutely. I'm trying to think what else was like really sort of integral to that. But yeah, it's definitely not the same. In their defense, like I think because they've acquired so many more IPs over the years, they've really like, I don't know, the Disney store before they shut it down was very much like, this is the Marvel section, and this is the Pixar section, and this is the animated section, and like this is the baby section and whatever. Whereas I feel like maybe before, which makes sense back in that time, it would have just been their animated movies, right? It just would have been all animated movies, and you probably would have like a princess section, and then you would have like the stuffed toys and the clothes and stuff. That would have been more what it would be, as opposed to, like, a lot more quadrant and, like, sectioned off. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, I remember doing that because I know Hot Topic has a lot of, like, off-license Disney stuff as well. So I remember in Toronto, I used to go... I don't even think they had a Disney store there. Or if they did, it was like I would go to the Disney store and they wouldn't really have what I wanted, and then I'd go to Hot Topic and I would find, like, the Disney thing that I actually wanted. I remember going through a phase where I bought so many Alice in Wonderland themed shirts from Hot Topic. The one cool thing about, like, the Disney online is that it has, like, because obviously Pandora has Disney Charms, there's, like, the Disney Parks exclusive stuff, there's ones that's for, like, the Disney store. All of that's now in one place, which is kind of cool. So when you're looking up, like, for instance, Aladdin stuff, it'll not only give you, like, the Disney store Aladdin stuff, but it'll give you all of the other places where Disney licensing of Aladdin would exist, and you can get them all sort of from the same place. I've never done it, but, like, I feel like it's cool to actually see everything that's available as opposed to, like, it's just the Disney store stuff, if that makes sense. Husband and I are going to box lunch. Oh, that's awesome. I don't know if I've heard, so there's one in the UK, and I don't know, so is Box Lunch a physical store? Because we don't have, like, a physical, aside from, like, Disney store. The only other one is, like, EMP is sort of, like, the British Hot Topic. Hot Topic, okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think that exists here in the UK. So there's a website called the Truffle Shuffle that has a lot of, like, 90s and 80s themed merch that I know a friend of mine orders a lot from. And then EMP, which is sort of like the online Hot Topic equivalent. I don't even think I've ever heard of that in Canada as well. So that must have just been, like, a States thing. But it sounds incredible. If it's, like, older millennial Hot Topic, that sounds like a dream. Like, sign me up. Okay, this one's really nice and pointed. We need to step up our point game for the rest of these. But yeah, it's really sad. I don't know if, like, anyone goes to their local mall anymore, but our local mall is looking really sad in terms of the level of vacancies that are there, to the point where, like, I don't know if they think they're just never gonna fill these spots in their store where they've just, like, boarded it up, and they put, like, cute, like, I don't know, pictures and stuff on there, but, like, where they would have, I don't know, like, where you would walk in, they've just, like, put a bunch of benches. So they've just, like, they've included more seating in the mall in front of what would be storefronts if there were things in there. Which is a shame, because, like, I don't know, like, they're good meeting places, you know what I mean? To, like, walk around and, like, meet up somewhere that's inside, it's enclosed, that sort of thing. But yeah, the vibes have shifted. Gone are the days of, like, how malls were life, you know, back in the 90s, early 2000s. Really? Part of it's being turned into a hospital? That's interesting. I guess, yeah, they need to use the space somehow. Yeah. Yeah, that would do it. Absolutely. I think that's the thing, too. It's like just the vibes of malls have kind of changed. it's just, and also too, like, the variety. I feel like you would go to a mall and there would be, like, a lot of different, maybe, clothing options and different, you know, even, like, the mall growing up that I went to, it was all pretty box store. There weren't, like, lots of quirky stores, but it wasn't so samey, you know what I mean? But even stores that I expected, like, to be sticking around, like, you know, sort of the more fast fashion-y stores, when they shut down, I was like, oh my god, like, people are in trouble. Because I'm like, if these, like, high turnover fashion, like, cheap throwaway fashion stores are, like, not hanging out in the mall anymore, then, like, we're really in a pickle. But I guess a lot of those fast fashion brands have mostly moved on to online anyway, so that could be part of it. But, yeah, I don't know. It's like part of me is sad about it, but I also am the kind of person who is not actively contributing to the infrastructure of a mall, because every time I go out to places that are busy and full of, like, loud, noisy people, I'm like, my introverted heart can't handle this anymore. Yeah. Okay, that one is, this feels good. I'm happy with this. I think now it's just about, like, firming up the points and then bulking it up. Because there's still, this is, like, a bit better, but we want to make it stiff enough that it doesn't just, like, flop around on the tree. It needs to, like, hold its structure, you know? Because right now it, like, does, but it looks very fragile. And we want it to be, like, dense. We want it to be thick. It's a thick North Star. Thick boy star going on top of the tree. My stars will turn into... Oh, yeah. That would actually be super chill. Yeah, I feel like even the idea of, like, food courts have changed. A little bit. But yeah, I used to love that, right? Thick boy star. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I guess it's sort of like living in, like, a university residence, you know what I mean? I guess not all the residence buildings had, like, the cafeteria in the residence building. They were usually in, like, a different building on the campus. But that's sort of same vibe, you know what I mean? But, like, not with, like, trashy uni food. With, like, you know, actually, like, good, decent food. I would be down. Yeah. Especially, too, I would enjoy that more than having to venture out to the grocery store. I don't know, man. I feel like I talk about this every time. Like, every time I come on stream, I go, oh, I feel like I've just come back from battle. I'm like, oh, went to the grocery store today. It was, like, intolerable. It's like every time I go, I try to, like, you know, give the grocery store the benefit of the doubt, but I'm just like, everyone's in the way. There's too much going on. It's loud and bright and noisy and you don't know where to be and everyone's walking slow and they're in the way and it's just too overwhelming. every single time. Yeah, grocery pickup, absolutely. I know we usually do like the delivery stuff. But again, like, yeah, especially when you're just like kind of popping out and need a few things, it's probably, I don't know, I assume it's better for the environment to just like go there ourselves. But it's one of those where like being able to pop out used to be viewed as convenient, but I'm like, no, it's actually very inconvenient for me to take time out of my day to venture into the hellscape that is the grocery store. But yeah, definitely. It just feels like any time of day that I go, it's always super busy and crowded. But of course, like, I think the reason for that is because it's obviously, like, during the day, it's, like, a lot of older people and a lot of, like, you know, parents and stuff like that. But of course, it's considered, like, off-peak time. So there's only, like, 3 cash registers and stuff like that. And so what happens is it ends up feeling super crowded because, of course, all of the old biddies use cash or, like, use card. They don't know how to use the self-scanner, which is fine. But then, of course, there's, like, you're waiting forever because there's only, like, 3 out of, like, the 12 tills open. And so even though it's off-peak time, it's still really busy in terms of, like, the density of people in the checkout area because everyone's waiting. You don't love food anymore, so I just don't care if I pick my own stuff out. Is it like you're just like indifferent? You're like, I know I need to eat for energy, but I'm kind of like not fussed on what it is. I get like that sometimes. Or I'm just like, I don't know. I know I need to eat, but like nothing is interesting to me right now. I'll just consume. Yeah, stress medication. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Oh, wow. I guess it's sort of, that's interesting. So it's sort of, is it for that reason, or is it a side effect of of a medication you're taking for other things? If you don't mind, like, disclosing. Because I know sometimes that's a drawback to ADHD medication, is just like not an appetite. That happens. Like my brother would need to be reminded, like, by the way, dude, you need to eat, because he either would just like forget or just like is completely indifferent and is like, oh yeah, by the way. So I know sometimes that's a side effect of medications that are meant to treat other things, or I know that there's probably medications out there that are like designed for like food consumption stuff. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so it sounds like it's sort of for both, but it is meant for a different thing, but also has the meal suppressant kind of in that. Interesting. Yeah. Does it make it difficult for you? No problem. I was gonna say, does it make it difficult for you and your partner to decide what to eat? But I guess it doesn't matter. He can just like pick and you'll just consume it. So this one is like really like stand at attention pointed versus this one, which is a lot skinnier. I don't know if that matters in the grand scheme of things. Like, do we want the star to be basically like fully symmetrical on all 5 points? I'm not sure yet. TBD on how I feel about it. My apple looks. Oh no! Does it just look bruised or is it just shaped funny? I can't remember the last time I've eaten an apple. My fruit of choice lately has been bananas every morning on top of my oatmeal or granola. Has so many bruises. Oh yeah. Oh no. My mom developed an allergy to bananas later on in life. It was really random. It was just like, oh, and bananas now. I was like, okay. Oh no. The little princess is starting to whine. At Disney World. Oh, that's the worst too. I think I remember you saying this, where you were at Disney World and was like, "This is great," and then all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, here's this random allergy you're gonna develop, and it's totally gonna ruin your time there." I think I remember you mentioning this, and I was like, "That's the worst place to realize you have an allergy, in like the quote unquote happiest place on earth," and you're like, "I am decidedly unhappy right now because of this reason." Yeah, I'm looking at Tiffins. Yeah. That's the other thing, too. You're like, not only am I allergic to this, but I also paid an arm and a leg to consume this thing that is now I'm having a reaction to. Oh, wow. Hello. Someone's trying to make his presence known. I think it was the lobster mac and cheese even called them to warn them. Oh yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's true, because if you don't feel well, you're like, obviously the first culprit is usually seafood. I think that's a fair assessment, you know what I mean? Ugh, that's so frustrating. You got a refund. Oh, wow. Well, that's nice. Yeah, because I'm sure they'd be mortified if they got... Because I feel like they probably have very strict... Well, most restaurants should, but I feel like of Disney of all places, they're so, like, specific about how they do things, and they need to, like, be really, like, shit hot on those kinds of concerns. Thank you. Yeah, but also though, I guess because it wasn't your fault, like you didn't know you were allergic to bananas, but you also, you know, get a refund because you were allergic, you know, you couldn't eat the thing technically. Hello, sir. Are you upset? You're just gonna have to sort yourself out. You still, usually, you give me a half hour before you start acting shenanigans. You hear that? You hear the sweet, sweet sounds of the little princess. Yeah. Oh, that's good that it wasn't, like, it didn't last very long. You know what I mean? Yeah, so it wasn't one of those, like, you were totally out for the count sort of thing, which is good, because then it didn't, like, completely ruin your time there. Oh, how's that happen? We've like created a gap in the bottom here. We will have to fill that in, but maybe as we shape these, obviously, like when you're manipulating the fibers, you're obviously taking fibers from other places. So maybe when we were doing that, we sort of created this little gap unintentionally. It's all good. We can fill that. A sip of cold tea. Nice though. So we're actually making pretty good time with this. I don't know. Part of me was like concerned that, to be fair, I say this, there's still 2 more to do, and then because we do have Thursday to work on this, and then Friday if we need to. But I'm hoping we can get done by Thursday. And I feel like, knock on all the wood, we are making good timing. Hello. You should make one after Christmas and turn it. Yeah, that would actually work really well. I have a bunch of pinks, so that actually would work very well to make a Patrick star. Absolutely. That would be an interesting felting series, SpongeBob characters. I feel like that would actually work pretty well. I'm sorry. Would you like to go somewhere else? No, that's a weird choice. There we go. I just looked down. I am covered in fiber. I'm like wearing black leggings. Even this is just covered in like little felting fibers. Whoops. Yeah, I think SpongeBob would look really cute felted. I think Gary would also look really good felted. Though I don't know if I have the colors for him right now. He's mostly blue though. I do have I have like a light blue. That would work. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, absolutely. Now I want to too. Yeah, you should. Absolutely. Oh, plankton too. That's true. That would be pretty. That would be quite straightforward. Ooh, ooh. Sensing a potential theme. Like a Nickelodeon month or something. Don't think I have any Nickelodeon patterns though. It could just be Nickelodeon felting. The whole theme doesn't have to be. Like the whole month, like all of the streams don't have to be on theme. We could just do like a needle felting theme. I do feel like this one is a lot thinner than this one, so we need to do a bit more shaping. Yeah, little bean with like little tentacles and a big old eyeball. That should be straightforward enough. I think I have like a really dark green that would work for that too. Oh yeah. Yeah, Algebra Monsters. I feel like those ones are pretty technical. Like, I feel like there's lots of pieces. Though I guess one of them is just like a blob, isn't they? Aren't they? I also do have, because I haven't done any of like the retro games in a while. Yeah, that seems familiar to me. The only one I remember is... Oh, and see, now I don't even remember her name. But it's only because she's a playable character in that Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl that I'm like, oh yeah. But yeah, I haven't done any of the retro games in a while, and I do know that for funsies I downloaded like an Avatar one. Oblina, that's what it was. Yeah, and Avatar is Nickelodeon, so I could play like Avatar. We could do that. I feel like that would... This is a possibility. Possible theme for the new year. Okay, we really need to like... Ooh, ooh, ooh. to make this one a lot thinner. It just looks, it is looking very Patrick Star-esque. Like this is a very chunky head to go with like really skinny arms. See if we can sort of fix that a little bit. We're going for more like traditional Star, less like anthropomorphic Star. So I don't want these to like puff up too much. I don't know. I think we will get there in the end. But yeah, it's looking looking very Patrick Star in my opinion. I would like to step away from that, at least for this iteration. Like this like weird little gap in here is throwing me off. I'm wondering if it's too long and that's what is throwing it off for me. So it's this weird thing where you work on something and you stare at it long enough and you're like, do I even know what these things are meant to look like? I'm like, do I even know what a star looks like? To get it like proportional. Give me 2 seconds. back. I need to cut out what needs to. Yeah, that's the thing. I think I'm like, maybe I should like. I don't know. Maybe we should have like maybe I should have drawn one. Maybe I should have done that. I'm just gonna take a little snack break while we ponder this. Maybe I need to just like shape the bottom legs, and then that will help put things into proportional perspective. And then once we do that, then we'll have a better idea of what's going on. So I definitely think part of it being that these, I think, are too long. But I don't know. Who knows? Let's fluff around and find out. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's one of those where I'm like overthinking it before I've even like finished the baseline shaping of all of the points, and it's like, let's do that first and then we'll worry about the proportions. Oh no. Is it one of those, because I feel like sometimes apples look really bruised, but then when you actually like bite or cut into them, like they're totally fine. I always remember, I don't know if it's Berenstein, Bears. There was like they had a TV show along with their book series, and there was one about how like the sister or the brother was hanging out with like an older person because they were into kites, and the little sister was like a bit weirded out about it. And the mom did like this analogy where the apple had a bit of a bruise on it, and it was like, ooh, like that seems like a sketchy, crappy apple. And then she cut into it, and it was like totally nice and clean. And then there was like this apple that looked like really pretty and beautiful on the outside, but then when they cut into it, it was like full of worms. And so it was this thing where they were basically trying to like teach them about like shifty people and maybe kind of low-key about grooming and stuff. But I always just remember this apple analogy of the little sister being like, oh my god. I don't even remember if like if the person that the little brother was like hanging out with or was like talking to was actually like a bad person. But I always remember the apple analogy for whatever reason. But yeah, so sometimes a bruised apple is good, and 100%. That's exactly what it was. That was exactly the moral of the story. But I don't remember if the outcome was this person was bad, or if the little sister was in the wrong and the person was actually good and she just thought that it was like really chill. Or like thought that it was creepier than it was, you know what I mean? So, I'm not actually sure. Yeah. Do you have like a favorite type, like variety of apple? Do you have an apple preference? Yay, Ningday! 12 months. Our baby is 1 month old. Hello, hello. Fuji. Okay. Those ones are usually a little bit smaller, aren't they? I know, like, Liam went through an apple phase, and he would usually get the Pink Lady apples. I don't know anybody whose, like, favorite apple to eat raw is Granny Smith. That feels like they're too sour. That would be, like, a really odd pick in my mind. Unless you're having it with something really sweet, like with caramel or chocolate sauce or something like that. Oh, yeah. Interesting. Maybe I'm, like, thinking there's something different. It's one of those where I think maybe if I were to look at actual Fuji apples here, they would also be massive. I don't know. Only sociopaths, yeah. Yeah, because there's the ones that are, like, most, like, sold, I think, like, they commercially sold in supermarkets around here are Granny Smith, Red Delicious, Gala, I think. And then, yeah, Granny Smith, Red Delicious, Pink Ladies, Gala apples, and then maybe Fuji apples. I've not looked at them. There's the dog park that we take Shadow to has an apple orchard. It's like a pick yourself apple orchard, and they have like like over 100 varieties of apples, which I was like, I don't even know there were that many varieties, but they grow them all there. Kiddo, oh, he had his Xmas concert. That's incredible. What did they do for it? My nephew, they did the Bruno Mars song 24 Karat Magic. And that was there, and like there was this whole thing, and they did a dance apparently, and we didn't see the dance. I should have asked my sister-in-law if she had the video to show, but they did this thing where they had to like show attitude, right? And so they would be like, oh, you need to show attitude. So we'd look at my nephew and be like, show attitude, and he'd go like this, and this was like his attitude face, and he would like do this and like look, and I guess all of the teachers and, like, a bunch of parents were coming up to my sister-in-law being like, oh, my God, your kid is incredible. Like, they're such a good dancer, and they have, like, so much attitude and pull the best expressions and stuff like that. And she was like, oh, my God. But he did. He's very expressive. He's a very good dancer. But I thought that was such a random choice for, a Christmas concert. 24 Karat Magic. I was like, sure, why not? Nativity play. Kiddo was a shepherd. Very cool. There are enough apples to have a different one each day for a year. Is there? Yeah, I believe it. 100%. He only had 2 lines. Aw, that's awesome, though. I'm sure he crushed it. It was interesting because I was on, like, a Canadians in the UK Facebook group, and they were talking about the differences between Christmas concerts they remember in Canada versus here. And one of them said that they don't remember there being, like, them celebrating or, like, having a lot of the religious elements, like nativity stuff and, like, singing all of those sorts of things. And I was sitting there being like, I 100% did those things in primary school. We didn't do the nativity, but we 100% sang, like, the more religious-based Christmas songs. growing up. So I thought that was really weird that they were like, oh, we didn't do this a lot growing up. And I was like, maybe you didn't. But, like, I remember singing the Jesus-y songs. Like, we didn't do a nativity, but we definitely did the Jesus songs when we were doing our Christmas concerts. So I thought that was interesting. Lots of singing, too, yeah. Oh, yeah, we did so much singing. It was always, I remember senior kindergarten, so I was, what, like, 5? Yeah, 5 probably. We did... That's surprising that you didn't do nativity, Kat, considering that you're in, like, a much more conservative sort of area of the world. You got home and instantly crashed and is still asleep. Aww. Yeah, absolutely. Fingers and toes crossed. It's just because it was a long day. Yeah. Aww. He shepherded his little heart out and crashed. Hey man, shepherding is hard work. I would be tired too after that. But yeah, tons of singing. Absolutely. But yes, when I was 5, we did... Oh yeah, fair enough. Absolutely. That's true. We did the senior kindergarten classes every year without fail always did the 12 Days of Christmas. And it was one of those where everybody like sat on benches and there was like a cluster of people from each class that were in charge of singing each of the like lines of the song, and then on the Partridge in a Pear Tree part, all of the kids would stand up and sing. So we'd all be sitting down, and then they would be like on the first day of Christmas, and then a group of 4 would stand up, say their part, sit down, and then we would all stand up and sing Partridge in a Pear Tree, and me and my friend were 5 Golden Rings. And that felt like a baller line, because that was like the longest one. It was, like, the one that, like, you really, like, went ham on. So I remember us being like, yeah, we're 5 Golden Rings. We're, like, the best part of the 12 Days of Christmas song. I think it was also the higher education part. Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting. Possibly. But yeah, every year. And then you had some kids that were, like, really quiet and stuff. But every year this class did this. So you had, like, the lower grades that would do a lot of just the individual singing things, and then the higher grades in primary school would then do, like, a Christmas play. And they were, like, made for kids Christmas plays. Some of them had bops. Like, some of them were, like, big deals. Is it from that apple or from my discussion about golden rings? Because both would be valid. Too much Christmas cheer, Kat. Your body can't handle it. Your body can't handle the Christmas cheer. Oh no. So, Nungdae, did Kiddo only have to do the Christmas concert twice? I think my nephew said, like, they said, whatchamacallit, they had to do it, like, 3 times. So I guess by, like, the 3rd time, all of the kids were like, I'm so over this. Yeah, definitely. Fingers and toes crossed, it passes, Kat. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, you do that. I used to, honestly, I'm surprised that we're so organized this year. I think because it was weird. Like, in November, I just got really panicky about running out of time to get everything done and, like, feeling rushed. And so then I sort of overcompensated and absolutely, like, got basically everything done before December even started. But I would definitely have been team last minute for most of my life. So I totally get where you're coming from, Day. Yeah, I definitely think the proportions are starting to make more sense now that we're like finished. Like we're starting to thin out the bottom points of the star. I think it does look comically large, but I think that was kind of the vibe I was going for. So we'll see. When we finish stream today, I'm going to just do like a size check with what I've done so far and just sort of make sure that we're on the right track. So then on Thursday when we like finish it, we'll make sure that everything is all hunky-dory. But yeah, I think it's not bad. The main thing we'll be having to like fill out this section here, and we'll probably just end up just shoving this in the center and being like, okay, we've filled it up, because we want everything to be like the right, like uniformly consistent in terms of its thickness. And obviously I knew that because we were condensing the points, those were going to be where the most density was, and the center was going to be a bit neglected in that respect. So that's why we have to beef that up after. But first we'll focus on the shaping of the points. But yeah, I'm happy. I feel like we've managed to neutralize the sort of like dehydrated pea yellow of this by mixing it with a lot of lighter colors, that I'm quite happy with it. Hopefully it actually is yellow enough. We might have to incorporate a bit more of that yellow back into this if it's not. But I think it's still reading as like yellow-ish. Like it's reading star-colored. Even if it's more on like the light white side, I feel like that still kind of makes sense. We'll see when the lights on the tree are on it as well. Like if it's, I don't know. We'll see what it looks like. And then we can make the appropriate changes if we need to. See, I don't know. I don't think my goal was to make everything. You use a clear tube. Yeah, that's true. That's also an option. Like I could have done a clear tube instead of like a cardboard tube and get sort of like lights through it. Possibly. Yeah. Well, I'm sure too, because I know like the kind of cold air can really sort of tickle the throat and give that a bit of a cough as well. But that's good, yeah. That he's just tired. He's had a long few days, it sounds like, so I don't blame him. Ooh, very nice. Yeah, I'd wake up for carvery too. I'm like, I'm gonna have a nap and then I'm gonna go and eat some yummy food. That sounds like an excellent end to the day. When does kiddo break up for like the Christmas holidays? I feel like I think this Friday my nephew's breaking up, but my sister-in-law's mom works for a school and they're not breaking up until like the 21st. They're not breaking up until like really, really close to Christmas. 23rd, yeah. Oh, so it's like literally like before Christmas. That's wild. That's not bad though. It kind of like worked itself out that way because Christmas is happening like on the weekend this year, so they don't have to like sort of they really can go right up until Christmas, because I think before it's like if Christmas is happening in the middle of the week, they sort of have to like end on a kind of the right day. Second. Oh, okay. Christmas sweater day. Oh, that'll be nice. Do you have Christmas sweaters? I have a Krampus one that I enjoy. It's massive though. But I remember like when I remember this because I remember when I was working at Pandora and we did a Christmas jumper day at work, and I remember saying to Liam, I'm like, I need a wholesome Christmas jumper because I can't in good conscience go to like my jewelry store job rocking an oversized Krampus Christmas sweater. I feel like that would have been considered inappropriate. Oh, that's cool. You bought him a Minecraft one. That's awesome. Aw, yay. That's sweet. We used to have, do you guys have, or did you have, like, spirit days at school? So what we used to have is, like, I don't know if it would be, like, all the time or, like, sort of the week leading up, or sort of, like, again, similar to, like, Christmas jumper day, but we would do things like crazy hair day or, like, twin day, and you and your friend could dress up, or it would be, like, tacky tourist day, and you would come dressed up, and it was, like, the days that we had assemblies, sometimes they would almost be, like, themed, and they would encourage everyone to sort of dress up and, like, stuff like that, and they would give, I don't know, I think they would give prizes out and stuff too to like different grades and stuff. It's always fun. I always thought crazy hair day was fun. It's always just an excuse to like dye my hair different colors and put like a bunch of ponytails and braids and different clips and things in there. Oh yeah, break the rules day, crazy hair nail polish. Yeah, I remember when Kiddo had break the rules day and you like painted his nails and did his hair all fun, and that was really cool. Yeah. Yeah, it turned out really well. I remember that. That was awesome. I started that after I graduated. Oh, okay. Prep rallies. Oh, interesting. That's cool. Yeah, I know. I feel like I never had like a traditional pep rally. Cause I don't know, like were pep rallies? I always assumed like they're like TV where there's around like sports, like it's centered, like it's sort of like you have a pep rally to get everyone jacked before like the big football game or something like that. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, sports were pretty abysmal in the schools I went to, so, like, that wasn't a thing. So we didn't have, like, pep rallies in that sort of a sense. Remember in high school we had 2 non-uniform days in the whole 7 years. That's awesome. Hey man, you did those non-uniform days proud. As you should. I feel like high school is the time when you're like experimenting with your style and your like sense of identity and things like that. And I'm like, that is the best time to be doing all those things. That's pretty baller. Yeah, okay, so that's what I wasn't sure if it was sort of like a pep rally in that traditional sense. So it sounds like it was, definitely. That's really cool though. I don't know, that always seemed like it's so funny because I feel like I'm sure that happens with different movies and stuff as well. Like when you're watching a British film, and like I always thought the concept of like boarding school was so interesting because I would like watch movies with all these girls that would like go to boarding school together and things like that. And again, like the big pep rally was like a big thing in a lot of like DComs and a lot of like high school based movies I would watch growing up, and I always thought that it would just be so interesting, like to have everyone in the gym in high school and like everyone cheering and like having that like epic school spirit thing. I feel like it really lacked in my high school. Like, it just wasn't a thing. And it's probably one of those where I'm sure it wasn't nearly as exciting as they obviously made it out to be, like, in the movies. But, yeah. That was, like, when I found out, too, because, like, we never really had, like, cheerleaders and, like, cheerleading teams. They attempted to do cheerleading at my school when I was in grade 9, and, like, everyone made fun of them. Like, you know when cheerleaders are supposed to be the stereotypical popular girls? Like, everyone made fun of them. They were not popular. It was, like, my friend I know, her whole thing was she wanted to be a cheerleader, and yeah, they weren't respected in the traditional sense that I feel like cheerleaders normally are. A Viking boat one year that's so cool. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was something that I had, but I remember and I remember too, they used to sell all the cute, like, locker personalization things at Staples and stuff, but it's like, by the time you, like, put all your shit in your locker, like, all that stuff was coming down. I feel like I remember the hardest thing, because you would obviously get your locker, and you get your locker combination, and trying to remember those locker combinations was always such a pain in the ass. But yeah, the concept, I feel like that was one of those things. I think some people did, but I feel like I missed an opportunity to like customize the shit out of my locker, like that you would see in like the TV shows. Yeah. That's interesting. I didn't even realize that. I wonder if Liam had lockers. Because that feels like a very quintessential high school thing for me. Yeah. No, that's really interesting. Again, that's one of those things that I didn't realize was maybe not a thing. Yeah, I guess you would be storing all your, like, textbooks and things at home, and then depending on the day, like, that would be the stuff you would bring to class, probably. That makes sense. But it probably still isn't, like, ideal, because you are probably, you know, if you have, let's say, 4 classes that day, and each of them has one of those stupid, thick, massive textbooks, like, that's gonna do a number on your back. Especially, too, because it wasn't cool to have formal backpacks. Everyone had, like, cool shoulder bags and, like, crossbody bags. And, like, that would do a number on your shoulder if you had hella heavy books in there. Like, usually crossbody bags are, like, my go-to purse. I'm usually, like, team crossbody all the way. But, like, lately, it just puts... Because I literally, like, pack for the apocalypse, so I put so much stuff in there that it weighs so heavily on my one shoulder that I need the even distribution of a backpack now. Now it's like, that's the only option. Oh my goodness. Every subject, every day? Yeah, I don't even think I had that. Mostly workbooks. Oh, that's interesting. That's another, yeah, it's interesting the way those things are laid out. So instead of like you getting your textbook assigned and then that was yours for the year and you would carry it around, the like science textbooks per se were stored in the classroom and then you would go and get the book when you needed it, sort of thing. That's interesting. That's nice. That feels like it would be less of a burden on your body. 7 to 8 classes a day. That's nuts. How long were the lessons? Yeah. Like an hour. Yeah, I guess so, because I'm trying to think when I would start class, and then... I think we would do 5 classes a day. Was it 3 in the morning? And then, like, 2 in the afternoon? Because I remember we would do this thing where every other day our afternoon classes would flip. It was really confusing. So what would happen is, like, you would have, for instance, like, English, math, and gym in the morning, then you'd have your lunch, and then you would have, like, I went to performing arts school, so I'd have vocal lessons, and then, like, geography. But then those would switch, so one day I would have it 3rd period, and one day I would have it 4th period. No, we must have only had 4 classes a day, because they were in periods, and it was, like, 1, 2, 3, 4 periods. I don't know. Can't remember my time. I tried to block out. Yeah, fair. Honestly, yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely like 4 periods. Interesting. I do know that there were like other sort of like more academic driven like specialty schools in my area that I think you did extra classes and like that was part of it. It was like the more academic smart people schools. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting. I still can't get over the fact that, like, maybe Liam didn't have a locker growing up. She was the best schedule. It was 3 classes in the morning, lunch, and then 5 classes. Oh, yeah. 5 band classes. Wow. Excuse me. Yeah, it's fascinating to me, like different countries, provinces, like states, their school systems, and also too possibly like I'm sure depending on the school district, depending on like the generation, like I think maybe certain things have changed, certain things are still the same. Like it would be very, I don't know, I just find that interesting. That like every place seems to have different versions of education that is like considered mandatory or necessary to be like successful human in the adult world. And it just seems to be like completely inconsistent across the board as to like how each place achieves that. And then we're all running around with like, I don't know. It's interesting. the proportions aren't bad. I do think that maybe they need, like, the actual body of the star needs to come in a little bit. But it's not bad. Yes, that's true. Yeah, that was the thing that blew my mind. I was like, what do you mean? Because we had uniform schools in Canada, but they were usually the private Catholic schools that had uniforms, and everywhere else, like the public schools and stuff, didn't have uniforms. And so then when I moved here and found out that everybody had uniforms, I was like, I don't understand. Like, I've heard the arguments, and I can see both sides, like, in the benefit of potentially, like, having uniforms. But it just breeds this, like, weird culture of, like, stripping people of their individuality and making them just, like, pawns in a system that, like, kind of rubs me the wrong way, regardless of, like, it levels the playing field, because then, like, poor people and rich people are wearing the same thing and stuff like that. And it's, like, not being funny, I don't know, maybe, but I feel like even if you put people of different, like, socioeconomic backgrounds in the same uniform, you can tell which ones are better off than others. Maybe you can't, I don't know. I just feel like that's not the great equalizer that people, like argue it is, you know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, I don't think our dress code was, like, super strict. It was just, like, the traditional things of, like, you know, no bra strap showing. Your straps had to be, like, I think it was, like, 3 fingers thick. And, you know, you had to have, your skirts couldn't be, you know, they had to, I think it was, like, arm's length. So your skirt had to be lower than when your arms were at your side. But obviously people have different lengths of their arms and stuff. So that was a very subjective interpretation. But, yeah. That's the other thing, too. That's the other thing. It's like you're shelling out all this money, or again, you buy the cheap version, then you got to take it to some store and then get a custom, like, logo on it, which, again, is super expensive. And I guess the idea is, like, yeah, but then, you know, you only have one set and you wear it all the time. And it's like, yeah, but then I'm washing it all the time. And you know how expensive it is to wash things every day. It just doesn't seem like a logical argument to me. I think it's just a conspiracy to turn everybody into, like, just to strip everyone's individuality. It's very, like, militaristic in the sense of, like, if we strip you of your individual identity and, like, that will help teach you discipline and stuff like that. It's very, yeah, like, very militarized and very, I don't know. Seems very, totalitarian, I think is the, yeah. It's really bizarre, too, because I feel like in, like, high school, it's sort of, like, designed to be, like, do not question this. This is the way it is. Like, it's very, these are the correct answers. Like, they don't really give you any opportunity to, like, challenge the status quo and question things. And then I remember getting to university and then being like, well, you need to think critically and you need to critically analyze, like, everything about your life and, like, really examine it and pick it apart and put it back together again. And I'm like, no one taught me these skills because I was meant to just be a cog in the wheel. And so it was so bizarre. It was a completely different experience. High school had ties for different years and then 5 pounds per tie, which, that's so silly. And the ugly navy pinstripes are girls. Yeah. Pinstriped. Interesting. Yeah. And I think it's probably a bit better now, but I feel like there was a lot of, like, kickback for girls who didn't want to wear the skirt with the uniform. Yeah. I know, it's very interesting. Okay. So, it's kind of still looking very, like, starfish-esque to me, and I don't know if that's because I made it really skinny, But I like it. I do think, yeah, I do think we need to obviously make things a bit thicker over here. We still have this like little gap and stuff. So we're just gonna kind of beef this out and then sort of concoct a way to attach it via the branch. I actually think what I'm gonna do is I will go downstairs after we end for today and just do a bit of almost like recon, a bit of recon on the tree and see sort of the best means of attachment and things. But we will save that for, I don't think I ended up using that one. Pop these to the side here. We'll pop this away. I think they're finally everything back chatters now. Kiddos are going to, yeah. Yeah, I guess that's the other thing too, eh? It'd be interesting, like if Liam and I have kids and then they end up going to the school that he went to, but I think it's changed. I think when they went, because his brothers also went to that school, and when his youngest brother was in his final year, they like changed. I think it was like, you know, like it changed to like, I don't know, like an academy or something like that. So then obviously all the rules changed and stuff. So I think it would be a lot different. If anything, probably different in not a good way. So be interesting for sure. I always hated skirts. Yeah, that was my big thing, that because I remember my parents were like, you should go to the all-girls Catholic school because you're boy crazy and you'd have to wear a uniform, and I was like, I hate skirts, why would I wear a skirt? that was my big gripe. Absolutely. All right, let's go see which of our friends are currently streaming, and we will go and say hello to them, and then we will assess. I think it's definitely make these a lot pointier, bulk this up, and then figure out a way to have it sit on the tree. I think that is going to be what the plan is. Mine changed to me also. Oh, that's nice. Right. Yeah. The deconfederatization of the South. Absolutely. Okay, we got Sol, Soap, Artemis, Seabird, Baltihorse, Yuki. I don't know, let's go see Saul. We enjoy Saul. He's good people. So we will go and just make sure that's muted there. Okie dokes. Yeah, right? Yeah, slow progress. With all socio-cultural change, it seems to be slow as molasses. But fingers and toes crossed one day, eh? We're trudging along through the trenches of change. Some people are not going willingly, and we need to force them. But hopefully. All right, let's go and see our buddy. Let's go see our buddy Saul. And then we will be back here on Thursday finishing up my Christmas tree topper. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. It's been fun. I'm very impressed with the amount of progress we've made so far. So fingers and toes crossed. We can finish on Thursday. And then we'll see how it goes. I'll see you guys later. Bye!
Just don't let